I'm sure it's nothing. Some oversight.
Yes, that's probably it.
Not bad.
You win again.
Of course I did. Cricket's a game of the bonds, Susie. Cerebral, if you will. Today, you seem to be lacking in concentration. Ah, lemonade. Pips. There are pips in the lemonade, man.
That's because there are pips in the lemons, Master William.
Well, can't you take them out?
That fluid has been strained and strained again, sir. Short of picking out them pips with my bare hands, I don't see what else I can do. Now, will that be all?
Yes, that'll be all. Why must the Scots be so surly all the time?
You could always let him go if you're not happy.
Oh, don't be silly.
Well, then. Now you'll both have to excuse me while I see to the lunch.
Of course. So, Morse, a policeman, eh? You've surprised me, I must say.
How so?
A writer. Always had you pegged as a future literary gent. Calm on the outside, but inside fairly heaving with all manner of passions waiting to be expressed. Still, this gendarmerie business must be damned exciting. What about a yarn or two before we go in?
I was rather hoping that you could give me some information, William.
Really? What about?
Peter Rhodes. I want to know about his business arrangements with Henry.
Well, steady on, Morse. It's a bit off to mull over a chap's pocketbook before the ashes are cold, don't you think?
Things may not have been as straightforward as they seemed. It's possible that Henry did not take his own life.
But you can't be serious, can you?
I have to consider all the possibilities.
Well, Henry made him a loan. 30,000 to be paid in 2 parts.
Were both payments made?
No, they weren't. Henry was having second thoughts, as a matter of fact. He wasn't convinced he'd recover his money. He was planning to cancel the second payment.
Had he told Rhodes?
Yes. He'd also informed his bank. He told them he'd confirm when he'd spoken to Rhodes.
When did he tell Rhodes?
The night before he died. Henry felt very badly about it, of course, but he could be absolutely ruthless when he had to be. Have you told her about this?
I thought she should be protected from it for as long as possible.
Yes, of course. You're a good man, Morse. I had hoped you'd come here for quite different reasons. Susie's still a young woman. And the spark's gone from her, I know, but I thought if anyone could bring her back to us, you could.
Young Morse. I've seen worse.
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Sergeant Lewis, I was beginning to think you'd forgotten about me.
Oh, no, sir. This way, please. We'd like to see you in the interview room.
This is all very portentous, Chief Inspector. What's it about?
It's about Henry Fallon, Mr. Rhodes. He helped you set up your business, I believe. He made you a loan.
Yes. I don't see...
How important was the loan, Mr. Rhodes?
It was very important. Well, I needed the money to tide me over, you see. I had a cottage that I sold near Banbury, but that wasn't enough. I needed Henry's support till I could break even.
You met with Henry Fallon on the night before he died, sir?
Yes.
What was the meeting about?
About business.
About the law?
Yes.
Look, what about the loan, Mr. Rhodes?
What? Well, it was to be made in 2 payments. Henry said he was very happy with the business, there'd be no problems with the second payment. He was going to speak to his bank on the following Monday.
He said that? You sure, Mr. Rhodes?
Of course I'm sure.
Mr. Fallon told William Bryce Morgan that he was going to cancel the second payment. He told him he'd informed you of his intentions.
Well, that's nonsense.
Are you saying William is lying?
No. No, but I'm saying he's mistaken.
And Mr. Fallon's bank? Are they mistaken too, sir?
What?
Mr. Fallon informed his bank that he was going to cancel the second payment.
No.
Why were you at the Fallon house?
I told you Henry called me.
At 3 o'clock?
Yes.
Where did he call you from, Mr. Rhodes?
From home, of course. He was housebound.
Mr. Fallon's telephone was out of order for most of that day. Certainly at the time you say he called you.
Can you explain that, Mr. Rhodes?
Well, it can't be. He phoned me.
Yes.
This is madness. Madness. My father-in-law killed himself. Everybody knows that.
Everybody thought that. But now it seems he couldn't have. I think it was murder, Mr. Rhodes. A murder that you alone had the opportunity to commit. The opportunity and the motive.
I want to get out of here. You can't keep me here. Let me out, please.
Come on, sir.
Please. You don't understand. This is all wrong.
Mr. Rhodes, this interview is being recorded. My name is Detective Chief Inspector Morse. Also present in the room are Detective Sergeant Lewis and Police Constable Matthews. You do not have to say anything unless you wish to do so. Anything you do say may be given in evidence.
Great. Thanks. I'll be finished in a while.
I'm very grateful to you for coming, Susan.
I'm not sure what good I can do, Peter.
You can tell them that it's not true.
Peter.
You must know that I couldn't harm Henry. You must. I owed everything to him. My health, the business.
The police know that, Peter.
Then why should I kill him?
I don't know. They say you lied about the phone call and about the loan.
But it's the truth, Susan.
Peter, I tried to call home myself, and I couldn't get through.
You have to help me. You have to get me out of here. They'll believe you. You're his wife. They'll listen to you.
Please, there's nothing I can do.
Surely you believe me?
Please.
The interview is over, Mr. Rhodes.
Susan?
I'm sorry.
Susan, I'm innocent, for God's sake! He shot himself. The man was a bloody cripple. Why should he want to live? Susan!
Take it easy, sir.
This isn't happening to me. I'm an an innocent man. I didn't kill him. Why should I kill him? He helped me. I'm innocent. Do you understand? Do you understand?
I've got to get started. Have you got those house calls sorted out, Helen? Not too bad.
Not to mention it, is that it? Pretend it isn't happening.
I gave the police the facts, Helen, and I didn't know where it was going to lead.
You won't be too unhappy if the facts put Peter in jail.
No, not if he's guilty, and the police think that he is. Look, when I come back, why don't we go out for the evening, eh?
Out. With this going on, I'm in no mood for celebration, I assure you.
Okay.
You'd be quite wrong to gloat, you know.
I don't know what you mean, Helen.
Why do you suppose I've remained here all this time? To shuffle medical files. I was to be near him. And if they take him away, they take away my reason for staying. Do you understand that?
Mrs. Marriott? Sorry if I kept you waiting.
No, thank you for coming.
We could have met in my office. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm used to people staring. A childhood accident. Remember the 5th of November, you know. As to our venue, this is less public. Anyway, I like it here. I visit the church while my husband ministers to the sick.
You asked to see me, Mrs. Marriott.
Yes. It's about Peter Rhodes. I just can't believe he killed Henry Fallon, Chief Inspector.
No. You know Mr. Rhodes well?
His wife was John's patient. We all became friends.
And because you're friends, you think he's innocent. Is that it?
Yes. I mean, if you know someone, surely you can tell him.
I'm afraid you can't.
But he couldn't do it, I tell you.
If you want to help Peter Rhodes, I'm going to need something more substantial than a character reference. Is there something more? Mrs. Marriott?
No. No, there's nothing, Chief Inspector.
And that was it? She didn't say anything else?
I don't think there was anything else.
Can you be sure there isn't?
Well, she would have said, wouldn't she? Or Rhodes would have.
Well, then why come forward?
She wanted to get him off, Lewis.
Yeah, but
if someone you loved had been charged with murder, would you want to believe it?
But Rhodes, you'd need to have seen him in the interview room. If that was an act.
How can you make a judgment like that? You don't know him.
Well, neither do you, but you've got him in bed with Mrs. Marriott.
But I have evidence. I saw them at the inquest, and today she asked me to let him go.
Oh, forgive me, sir, but isn't that evidence what you'd call circumstantial? What about Mrs. Fallon? What does she think of him?
I don't think she liked him much. I seldom met.
Well, there must be someone we can talk to that knows him.
What do you think about it? Impressive, eh?
What can I say? You could tell the truth and say he looks a damn fool.
10 miles at the canter, and I haven't left the room. Care to try her?
I don't think so.
Oh. Duty call, is it? I always thought Rhodes was a bit of a bad hat. Could never understand what a girl would see in him. Henrietta, especially. She lived here while she was at Oxford, by the way. I grew very fond of her.
When did she meet Rhodes?
Difficult to be precise. Suffice it to say, she stayed on in Oxford after graduation and married him soon after that.
Do you know if he was faithful to her?
You've been busy, Morse. No, the fellow had great difficulty keeping his pants on, quite frankly. Almost from the off, there were stories about his philandering. One affair, well, it looked set to wreck the marriage.
Do you know who the woman was, sir?
No idea. As it happened, Henrietta and the child were killed before things came to a head. Now, there's a mystery for you, Morse. 3 a.m. on the road from Banbury, nobody knew why.
Well, they had a cottage in Banbury, didn't they?
But at that time in the a.m., Sergeant, and with the child?
Well, what did Rhodes think?
He didn't know what to think. He was at home in Oxford. He'd had a skinful. Woke up to find himself a widower. I have to admit it affected him rather badly. Took to the source in a major way. Is that all, Morse?
Yes, thank you.
And if you'll excuse me, I must go. Meeting Susie at the solicitor's. Goodbye.
Why didn't Rhodes know what his wife and child were doing out, Lewis?
Maybe they'd had a row or something. Do you think Mrs. Marriott was the woman, sir?
Do you?
Good chance, I suppose. But adultery's a long way from murder, surely.
We've shown motive and opportunity, Lewis. And we've no other suspect.
Oh, we haven't looked for one, have we?
With good reason. The timescale doesn't allow for one.
What if someone else got into the house?
How?
Well, the nurse said she used a shortcut, didn't she, at the back of the house? If she used one, someone else could have.
Well, it's all very straightforward, Mrs. Fallon. There are two beneficiaries. Your husband's estate amounted to £175,000, gross, that is, of which your brother William is to receive £50,000, while the remainder is to go to an organisation known as Dignity, so that it might continue to campaign for the individual's right to a dignified death.
But that can't be. Well, it's outrageous. He wouldn't have left her penniless.
There's no mistake, Mr. Bryce Morgan, I assure you.
Well, then you shall have the 50,000, Susie. She shall damn well have that. Now, where do I sign? Come on.
Please, William, if it's what Henry wanted. Thank you.
Susie?
It's just not on, is it, Lewis? The distance is too great. Someone going to the house this way would have passed the nurse, making her way down. And if we assume he managed that, the chances are that Rhodes would have seen him making his way back.
No. No, he wouldn't. The curtains were drawn. I had to open them myself.
You did what? At the scene of a crime?
No, hang on a minute, will you, sir? The curtains were open when the nurse left. They had to be. She said she waved to Fallon at the window. Why would Rhodes have closed them? He didn't try to get away, and even if he had done, nobody could have seen him. What if someone else was in the house? They've killed Fallon, and they see Rhodes arrive. There's only this way out, and they'd have had to close the curtains or be seen.
We'd like you to take us through it again, Mr. Rhodes.
I told you, he called me at 3. He asked me to go over at 6. I went. I found him dead.
What were your first impressions on entering the room?
I didn't have any. I wasn't expecting to find what I did.
Think, Mr. Rhodes.
It was dark. I don't know.
It was 6 o'clock.
The curtains were closed, I think. I'm not sure.
I think he's telling the truth. I don't think he closed the curtain.
What about the phone call, Lewis? We know that's a lie, yet he persists with it.
What if the call was made?
How?
Well, maybe the nurse was wrong about what time the phone went off.
So the nurse is lying too.
Why don't I phone the exchange? See what sort of repair records they keep. I could pay them a visit in the morning.
Why not? Tomorrow morning, Mr. Rhodes, my sergeant is going to be checking with the telephone.